into that space, using the space that Radiopani drops in and the space that he leaves behind. Ozwina-Polis uses that so well. So for me, it's good to see the new signing in Nduli, progressive pass with the secondary assist. Radiopani, good hold-up play. Radiopani starts the game ahead of Mabasa, Makgopa, and Butuma. This is a young man that showed a lot of promise with the 25 goals that he scored in the DDC for Orlando Pirates. Then he gives the assist for Ozwina-Polis, who opens the account for the season and also opens the account for Orlando Pirates. A well-taken goal.
There's something I want to touch on quickly before we go to our next moment, guys. You look at, my moment of the week was Siyabonga Mapen. A young player gets injured, bad injury. Radiopani has that bad injury while he's on loan. How big a psychological blow is it, and how much does it set players back when you have really bad injuries at a young age?
It depends on the faith that the coaching staff puts in, and your character, to build the makeup of your character. And he's obviously been very strong. Mabena's been excellent, under very good care, and they see value in him. So they've given him the best care on both sides, and they both seem to have flourished. I like the fact that Radiopani, has challenged the likes of Makgopa and Mabasa for that number 9 role, and it's going to be. This is a cup game. Phumudzo's seen him in Mabela. It will be interesting to see who takes that number 1 mantle as the number 9.
Yeah, well, the battle for the number 10 spots, no doubt at the moment, still belonging to Tito Ambulance, as it's Mbisa. And of course, he would have been keen to start the season quite well. I think there was a bit of criticism last season with regards to his performances, Phumudzo, but he's a guy that seems to have that big character.
When you're looking for a player with character, a player that does not shy away from moments like this, we saw him do this in the Soweto derby where he had the Panenka, but this time he goes for that right-hand side and the keeper chooses the right side, but it's just the power behind the ball. Unlucky for the keeper not to make the save in that instance, but Tito Maswanganyi, the heartbeat of that Orlando Pirates attacking trio, but there's an addition just behind him with Mbule being an addition, Mbule linking up Tito and also Nduli. I'm looking forward to that midfield of Orlando Pirates. When Tito turns, he's got an option of a relay of a Napolis. You can even add names like Sibelebele, Muremi to be able to play the balls too. So I think Orlando Pirates have signed well. I think the depth is something that is exciting me for the new season with Orlando Pirates depth.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how they do go. I think a lot of people thought, would it be Mbule or Maswanganyi? First game, the coach says, too. So a nice attacking lineup there. And of course, I know Matthew, when we were watching this particular clips before the game, before the show, he said, oh, keeper could have done better there. So let's maybe shine a spotlight a little bit on the keepers. And of course, Orlando Pirates had a nervy moment of their own, Matthew. Take us through this one.
Yeah, so Chain, he's fought off challenges over the number of seasons from his second and third choice goalkeepers, and he's done so very well. Don't get me wrong. But if I can be slightly critical of him here, every game, or every second game at least, there's always a mistake in him with ball at feet, trying to force play from the back. He will become a better goalkeeper, and his back four will become more confident in him if he just recognizes those moments and perhaps chooses the safer option. That's a very simple comment.
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both for me. I would not pinpoint Chain. I'll look at Chain. I'll look at the distances between Chain and his defenders to say, did he choose the right side? Let's start with that. To say he chooses to go to his right-hand side. Would he have gone better to his left-hand side when Mbokazi had opened up the space for him to receive? But it's just respecting the zone and the area that you are in. Unfortunately for Chain, he plays in an area or a zone where it's called a no-risk zone. You can't afford not to respect that zone. A zone where it's called a no-risk zone. You can't afford not to respect that zone, because if the opposition dispossesses you, only...
I think a lot of people have felt that they've been punching above their weight over the last few seasons. I think a lot of people have felt that they've been punching above their weight over the last few seasons, getting those...
On Ramobu and their wide players. He didn't shy away from Mbokazi and Sibisi, but playing for the entire match. in that manner was not going to do them any good.
I think for me, this is a coach that has really done well for Polokwane City. I think for Polokwane City to qualify for back-to-back top 8 finishes has really said a lot about the coaching with limited resources. Putti has managed to get Polokwane City in the top 8 the 2 seasons back. Last season he gets them in the top 8 once again. And this is a coach that has been really challenged in terms of key players. We're talking about a Polokwane City that does not have a Matuludi. Ozwin Nkwe is missing. Chauke is also still missing. So it says a lot about his technical acumen, but also for the Orlando Pirates team. I think it was great for the coach to start on a winning streak, keeping a clean sheet at home, having as many attacking players as much as possible. And I think that's why the Buccaneers enjoyed the game, because he did not play defensively. He was very offensive in the approach, and I'm happy to see that.
Yeah, looking forward to what should be a fantastic season indeed. And of course, we started off quite nicely with the MTN 8. After the break, we'll focus on some of the other matches.
The game, they get that goal because I think for the first minute, they get that goal. And for me, they really looked good on the ball, good rotation. And when that ball came in, Letswalo, being a number 9, he sniffs around and he gets that goal. And I thought 2-0, game over and done.
Yeah, I mean, even Coach Adnan Beganovic was celebrating in
provides an assist for Skukune. A delightful ball for any striker to really meet at the highest point and be able to put it in the back of the net. Well taken goal by Bradley Grobler. Changes the team talk for Tinkler at half time. And at the Man of the Match award interview, Bradley Grobler says, in the changing room at halftime, it was calmness. It was calmness because of this goal that he scores, because then the team talk becomes positive for Eric Tinkler and the boys.
Yeah, I mean,
retain the ball. TS Galaxy moves out as a unit, but they have to stop their movement before that cross is played into Mtambo, because that will then allow them to get back into a better position. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen. And Mtambo makes his run perfectly well, and that's just a superb cross. You can't do anything about that.
Yeah, really beautiful ball indeed there for Mafigo.
That's just a superb cross. You can't do anything about that.
Yeah, really beautiful ball indeed there for Mafigo, Linda Mtambo. And of course, the winning goal. You never want to concede a goal in this manner, Phumudzo. Always disappointing when you call it a defensive mishap, but Mncube, you call it a defensive mishap, but Mncube
to the next phase. Coming into these games, Kukune had played in 2 previous MTN 8 tournaments, and they were yet to score a goal. And they get their first goal of MTN 8 in the 3rd attempt, and they were able to score 3 in this game, and those 3 goals were enough for them to proceed to the next round.
I mean, lots of disappointment there on the coaches' faces. I don't know if we can get that. Third
were enough for them to proceed to the next round.
I mean, lots of disappointment there on the coaches' faces. I don't know if we can get that 3rd goal again. I want to ask you from a defensive point of view, Matthew, when he receives that ball, with the time he has, is the body position in the right place to be able to see everything that's happening around him? Could he be a little bit more open?
Well, I think he panics because of the press. It was a very good press from Mncube. First of all. But as soon as he gets this ball from Tape, the movement shouldn't be inside. He's a left footer. He's got to open his body up, and that gives you more angles. But he decides on inside, and that just closes down the options for him. And then as well, he panics because of the press. So Sibande should have done better, just chose the wrong moments. And eventually, unfortunately, he got replaced by Letsweno. Because he was a little bit shaky after that, unfortunately for him.
Yeah, never a nice moment that indeed. But take our hats off to Kukune for producing a really good comeback. So no doubt they'll be excited with that. And of course, the other game that we did have is Stellenbosch versus AmaZulu. I mean, we know the sort of quality Stellenbosch have shown over the past few seasons, and they keep doing it, Phumudzo. They keep coming back and saying, okay, our best players are going, but we'll find replacements.
When you look at the experience that AmaZulu has in their team, when you look at the goal that they open the scoring with, Look at the one touch that Zungu plays, very crucial. You look at Mtetwa with the cut back to be able to find Allen. I think what Arthur Zwane is trying to do down in KZN is balance experience and with the youth that is coming from their DD side. But look at that one touch coming from Zungu, excellent. And then that ball from Mtetwa. The secondary assist is one touch. The assist is one touch. Allen finds himself in the box. He's not a stranger in positions like that, Allen, and he does so well. Puts it in the back of the net and he opens his account for Amazulu.
And we can see how much the Zungu family, they enjoyed that one. Keegan Allen being a shrewd signing for you, Matthew. What do you make of him as a player?
Yeah, I'm surprised he wasn't retained by Richards Bay. I'd like to know what went on there. He was pretty solid for me, but obviously he's taken the opportunity to move across. And what a way to start your debut for your brand new team by
with the secondary assist. The outside of the foot comes from Titus. Barnes is attacking the box and he puts it in the back of the net. I think this also leads to that injury to Ofori, who later on had to be substituted. I think it was a broken nose or concussion.
Yeah, and always quite tricky with the goalkeeper leaving. And of course, Samuel Barnes scores with a beautiful free. Quite tricky with the goalkeeper leaving. And of course, Samuel Barnes scores with a beautiful free kick there. But I'm going to bring in Matthew Booth here because you wanted to comb that with a bit of a closer inspection.
Yeah, look, this is a bit of a strange one for me because obviously Mzimela comes on for Ofori. So it's not great for Amazulu because this happens. And this is kind of basics. And even though he perhaps psychologically wasn't ready for the match, the game time, but you've got to really put your second last man in the wall, in between the free kick taker and your post, your left-hand side post. He clearly didn't do that. And in fact, there was probably a two-man space that Barnes had to aim for. But the fact that Barnes executed was great for him, and quite rightly man of the match. 3 shots on target, forces one save, 2 goals, 7 crosses, 2 other chances created from him. So very well played by him.
Yeah, no doubt he'll be really proud of his efforts. So will Sanele Barnes.
Amazulu and Stellis at this point of the game, I thought it could be anybody's game, but Stellenbosch obviously pushed on and ended up getting that victory. For me, one of those exciting games over the weekend where 2 local coaches went head to head and trying to get to the semi-finals.
Yeah, and really good from PD to win the game. I mean, so late, it's a dead.
1 millisecond extra to react, and in the game of small margins, that's actually a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot, and of course, not able to react quickly enough there, which potentially was quite tricky. But a really good win for Stellenbosch, and it makes for exciting viewing in the semi-finals once we see those 4 teams that are lining up.
I think when you look at Pili, he was part of that under-20 team, that one under-20 AFCON. Exciting player. Let's also give credit to the coach, because for me that's the coach's influence, because Stevie Barker looks to the bench, he thinks this young man has got a lot of skill, explosive speed, the ability to shoot from outside the box. He looks at the bench, brings up the young man Pili and says, this is your opportunity to go in and win it for me. And he does exactly that. One of those bright talents that needs to be looked after, because that generation of under-20s need to be looked after, especially after winning AFCON, going to that under-20 World Cup. He's going to be very key in that team.
Yeah, excited to see how PD does, of course, throughout the season. He looks like a player that's going to grow a lot more within that Stellenbosch team. And of course, when you speak of talent, oh, you just go across to Klurkop and you'll see a galaxy of stars. And it was a tough day at the office for Richards Bay in that last quarter-final, 4-0 victory there. And I mean, when you start the game like that and you're not able to go into the break, at least still having a bit of fight, it's always going to be tough.
Yeah, and there was a bit of angst coming out of the camp, at SUNDOWNS with regards to the status of Mudau, Ribeiro as well. So this could have been a perfect opportunity to cause a bit of an upset, but it wasn't to be, especially when you defend like that. Not once, but twice, no defensive action from Richards Bay. allowing the ball to bounce, and of course Rangers is going to snaffle that all day long.
Yeah, and Matthew, and I mean, once you concede in that manner early on, you're always going to have problems. And I mean, a player like Ikram Reyners, he's going to take you to task.
Yeah, I thought this was offside when I watched it live, and when I watched the replay, I didn't change my mind. It was probably half a yard offside. But what Reyners does here so well is that as he's about to strike the ball, he realizes that it's a little bit away from him, so he's not able to put his laces through the ball and across the goalkeeper. So he does the second best thing, and he places it with his side foot to the near post, but he knows there's not a lot of space to work with. So it's got to come off the upright. And that is superb from me. A man in great form coming out of the break is really quite ominous for the defenders that he's going to meet for the rest of the season.
Yeah, it's going to be a really tough one because Ikram Reyners has been absolutely outstanding for the past few seasons, and looks like he's going to continue in the exact same manner. Phumudzo, what did you spot in this game?
When you look closely at the goal that Reyners scores, when you go to it, you'll see that Mamelodi Sundowns are a very confident team in build-up. That is the two strikers. That's how Richards Bay were trying to press. Now, when you move into that midfield, that is the midfield four. But look at Alende's ability to receive in the pocket. Look at how many players are around him. Sundowns are going to progress that ball to Allende. When he receives that ball, look at him driving forward. He still has 5 players that he needs to drive at, but he has got the confidence to then drive forward. Now look at the positioning of Themba Zwane and also the positioning of Sales. Now the back four are fixed on those 4. They are forgetting the danger man who I'm spiraling at the bottom of your screen, who's Reyners, is going to go on and score the goal in this moment. Look at that one step that Silas takes to be able to receive from Allende, to link up that build-up from Mamelodi Sundowns. Look at that space that Reyners has been offered. You can't give him a head start because of the explosive speed. Now that is the space that he wants to go to. Silas knows this type of runs from training, making the run on the shoulder of the last defender. He looks across and says that the goalkeeper has got the angle covered if he goes across the goalkeeper, but he composes himself, looks at that near post. He does not even go for the lace or for the power. He goes for that inside instep technique, and he just passes the ball calmly into the back of the net. 2 already, great start.
Yeah, truly great start for Mamelodi Sundowns, and of course Richards Bay. So many exciting young players coming through their team, and they'll be looking to pick themselves up, of course, and take that as a learning curve. Will the team from out in KwaZulu, and of course a moment that Captain Simphiwe Ncineka wouldn't have enjoyed was the own goal, and there was a little bit of miscommunication there because it almost was a moment where the keeper actually had it covered. How do you deal with things in this moment, Matthew?
Again, you go back to critical points in the game, and you're 1-0 down. You're about to go into half-time, where your coach will be able to give you a team talk, perhaps reshape things, and you try to play a high line against Sundowns. Not give you a team talk, perhaps reshape things, and you try to play a high line against Sundowns. Not the